10-minute daily reality check. David Y again. Adam Gilad in the house.
Hey, David.
You know what's great? I promised you again. And something we got to talk about today, which is really interesting. A successful man is a vulnerable man. Okay? Because a vulnerable man goes after what he wants. He doesn't care about what other people think. He doesn't look for validation and confirmation. He's not like a little neurotic girl constantly thinking about what she said or what the boss said to him or, what business he's working on right now. He's not constantly asking 75 different people's opinion. A vulnerable man is a raw man. A raw man is a confident man. Be confident in your feelings. Be confident in your emotions. Be confident in who you are. And there's so many men, and this is a great episode for women to listen to and a great episode for men to listen to. There's so many men that will ask 10 friends, what do you think she means by what she said? Overanalyzing conversations. Thinking about what their boss said and overanalyzing the conversation. Overanalyzing conversations so much. Looking at social media and seeing social media posts and wondering if they are directed towards them. Is this directed towards me? Did she put this picture up towards me? It's all a passive-aggressive way of living your life. It's not really living your life because a vulnerable man is a sexy man, is authentic. And I think a lot of guys mistake vulnerability for Tom Cruise's jump on Oprah's couch and declare his love for Katie Holmes, and they look at it as being silly. I look at that as being empowered. I think men think vulnerability is, oh my God, I can't show who I really am. I have to be a certain thing or play a certain role. But in reality, vulnerability is the ultimate form of confidence.
Well, it means that you're okay with admitting that, first of all, you're in touch with what you're feeling, that you're admitting what you're feeling, even if it's not flattering. And we live in a world of flattery, self-flattery today. I was reading, Sean Parker was one of the founders of Facebook, is practically apologizing for Facebook. He said, we knew we were creating something addictive. We knew we were creating a feedback loop where we're going to post pictures and see how people like us and create kind of an addiction. So we take that self-validation, which was already hard for people, and now we not only make it third person, but 30th, 300th, 3,000th person. We have all this validation coming from thousands of other people or not coming from thousands of other people. And it's harder than ever to be vulnerable. And the funny thing that's happening now, of course, is that, I don't know what you call it, vulnerability signaling. Now you post vulnerable posts to get more validation, not to actually be in touch with yourself or to actually connect with someone. Brene Brown, Saint Brene Brown, I always call her Saint Brene Brown, says that vulnerability is actually how we connect with each other. Like most men have it wrong. We think we have to, beat our chests and make a silverback show. Here's my car, here's my clothes, here's my accomplishments. Look at me being witty. When in fact, we actually connect with each other through our vulnerability. And vulnerability actually just means, hey, this is how I'm feeling. And I'm going to share it with you, not to make a show of myself, but to actually share myself with you. So now we're doing it on Facebook and Instagram. We're sharing have you seen these huge vulnerable posts? I always have mixed feelings because some of them are really powerful.
Can't stand them.
Yeah, some of them are powerful, but some of them feel like pleading for approval.
Or they feel like a sales letter.
Yeah.
And I remember one person that we both know, and I won't mention him by name, literally put it up. He was known as being a guy that used other people's lists to try to make money. He was never an expert when it came down to the field of dating. Put up a vulnerable list about his health issues that he was having. Put up a vulnerable post about, where he's at. And I just read through it. It looked like a sales letter to me. It's almost like, look at me, look at me. I'm exposing myself to all of you, but that's not being vulnerable to me. Vulnerability, posting on Facebook to a bunch of fake friends, let's get real. I've got 1,700 people on Facebook, and 1,695 of them are hot women, okay? The reason why is because I don't accept men as friends. Why? Because eventually, or at times, I tried to date some of the women, or I have dated the women on Facebook. Everything is preordained or pre-planned. It's putting out a vulnerable post to a bunch of people that you don't really like anymore. Jim from high school, who the fuck cares if he's validating you? Don't go back to high school. You're 47 years old. You don't need to fucking be the prom king or queen. And that, to me, is what Facebook has become. I don't like those raw, vulnerable posts. To me, take that same post,
call the people you fucked over.
And call the people you fucked over, or call the people you need to share this with, and literally look at them in the eyes and fucking say to them how you truly feel. It's a fucking pussy way out, those vulnerable Facebook posts.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Because sometimes I feel wow, someone's really going through something, and this is how they're communicating. They're sitting at home like most people now,
They're lonely
behind their computer.
If they're sitting at home, you're not going to get, so what? A bunch of people are going to give you thumbs up, and a bunch of random people that don't really know you.
I love
right?
you. Right?
I love you. I love you. I love you. And they're going to give you advice. The fact is, I feel that you're going through something. Buy some coaching. Don't be such a cheap fucking ass. I read those posts and I think to myself, therapy, coaching would really fucking help you.
Sit with friends.
Uncover the stories. Sit with friends. Get raw and open. Invite a friend over. Invite somebody over that did something to you. Sit with your kids and actually have that conversation with them and teach them what it means to be a strong, vulnerable human being instead of this feedback loop of vulnerability that we vomit all over social media.
Yeah, we got to talk to each other. It's funny. This is beginning to ramble, but I had my kids before the iPad. That's the ultimate nanny, right?
Wow.
You go to restaurants. What do you see? Every kid is sitting with an iPad or iPhone propped up, watching some cartoon instead of talking to their parents. It's sad. It's sad. We need to just talk to each other. Vulnerability doesn't mean connecting through social media or electronics. It means sitting with someone, looking in their eye, and talking to them.
No, it really does. And I think it's unbelievable how so many people don't want to do this. And another thing is, in dating, it's like, be vulnerable when you're out with somebody on a first date. Talk. It's interesting. One of the things I do with all my clients, and you'll love this, right, is I have my clients record, because you can walk around with an iPhone nowadays and nobody's going to pay attention to you, right? So I have my clients record conversations they're having out and about. So I listen to their conversations, and you know what I hear? No vulnerability at all. A lot of small talk that actually puts me to sleep, right? So I can imagine what the receiver feels with that too. And women do the same thing too. The thing is, people are so caught, and Howard Stern said this really, really well. When I first became a public person back in 2001, I did a lot of TV and a lot of radio and so forth, right? And then by 2004, I was writing for Yahoo Personals. I was the head writer. And on a Saturday night, I would be on Yahoo's homepage. 10,000 comments would come in, right? This was the height of all this stuff. And I kept Howard Stern's message in my brain over and over again. Barbara Walters, who's in her head, says, Howard, whenever she talks, right? Wawa Walters, right? Howard, how do you deal with the haters?
Right.
And Howard says, he goes, I love them as much as the people that love me. He says, because at least I created an emotion. So it's funny, when I got involved in being in the public eye, right, I realized that if someone writes, like if one of you assholes listening right now says that David sounds angry, great, I'm not angry, you're angry. It literally comes back at you, you reflect back. I want to cause an emotion in you. And that's what I learned, Adam, a long, long time ago. If you love my stuff, great. If you hate my stuff, great. Make a comment, because at least I got you to feel something, because this was when he was just shock jock. This is before Facebook and Instagram and everything else, right? But he learned at a very young age, being one of the best, fucking radio personalities ever, right? To create an emotion in somebody by being vulnerable and open. If you listen to Howard, right?
He's amazing.
Howard maybe has slept with 3 women his entire life, right? He touches boobs supposedly, but really doesn't. He's got a second wife, he had a first wife, and maybe he had a one-night stand thrown somewhere in between. He tells you he's really bad in bed, right? He tells you, but he talks lovingly about his wife nonstop, right? He talks about his children. He talks about his life. He talks about his fears and insecurities. And Larry David does the same thing in Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's basically 25 minutes of therapy for Larry David. We get to see his neurotic. That's why Seinfeld was so great, because those are all Seinfeld. Seinfeld's not a comic. He's just a vulnerable person standing up on stage and everybody's laughing with him. It's like his jokes are not huge. It's just he's able to talk about his human feelings and emotions and neuroses. Even Louis C.K. will say the same thing. He talks about his kids, that great skit of his kids being an asshole. Right?
Changed his life, changed his comedy.
Yeah, it changes everything. So I think people...
That's right. He talks about that was the moment where his comedy changed. Because if you go online and you look at old Louis C.K. stuff, it's not that good. But once he said, my kid's an asshole. If you're going to dinner and someone refuses to put on their shoes, they're an asshole. She happens to be 4 years old. And he got such a rise out of the audience. He goes, and that changes comedy totally. Intimacy, ultimately intimacy, is what we're interested in. Intimacy has been defined as the ability to share your inner state with another person. I don't think intimacy is sharing your state with Facebook. And in order to share your inner state, you have to be aware of your inner state. You have to slow down. You have to see what you actually feel. And you have to be able to speak it. And like you said, someone's going to hate you for it, they're going to hate you for it. It's going to happen. Bill Burr, another great comedian, has such an amazing bit on this.
When he talks about the woman.
You pussy here. No, it's like men are afraid to say they like a cookie. Or look at a baby because, the voice in their head or other guys going, yeah, look at the pussy. Needs an umbrella. So he says men are afraid to feel.
How about the woman that comes over him, the woman that goes in his face and goes, and he's like, and if you were a dude, I'd fucking punch you.
Yeah, but you can't.
And he says it, but I can't. But yet you're always this 5'2" woman who barely weighs anything. You always come over and you're confronting a dude because, he's fucking...
And he's powerless, and he's able to speak that, which is why great comedians, him, Patton Oswalt, Louis C.K., Sarah Silverman,
Seinfeld.
I think.
Oh God! Wait! Oh, let's go back to the king of fucking doing this. Okay, you know what? Carlin.
George Carlin.
Come on, George Carlin was the king.
Before he just got angry.
Of saying Robin Williams. Robin Williams. This was Robin Williams. I remember reading Robin Williams' stories. Right? Robin Williams would get on Morgan and he'd snort fucking piles of cocaine.
Just go.
And the whole show was just improv around Robin Williams' fucking craziness. Right? Robin Williams goes on stage, and if you watch him, he goes in different tangents about the weirdest fucking shit in the world. He was
in touch with what was happening inside. You know who else is an amazing comedian? Is Whitney Cummings. She has and Eliza Schlesinger. These are two women I've been listening to recently. They have an amazing way of speaking their inner world that's hilarious and a little sad, but really funny. So today's lesson, I guess, is first you have to pay attention to what's going on inside. Then you have to be courageous enough to actually share it with someone who can hold it. And if they can't hold it, if they're going to be a hater, there's other people in the world.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's what I have to say. Release your inner world. 10-minute daily reality check out. We'll have Adam G back on tomorrow. Spread, pass, and learn, and love, and live, and be vulnerable, and stop fucking posting on Facebook.